Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos travel to Cincinnati to take on Joe Burrow and the Bengals in a highly anticipated Week 17 matchup. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Broncos-Bengals Week 17 game for you here, and a special Saturday edition of NFL football. But before we get into that, Ryan and I, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. We hope all of you all have a fun and fabulous week with your families. If you like the work that we put out and also are excited for a lot of off-season content, be sure to subscribe to the Tracy Take. Tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. Leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game. And Ryan, this is going to be a huge game. The Bengals have been absolutely playing with fire, flirting with disaster, whatever, I guess, phrase that you want to say. This entire season, it's weird kind of looking back on like their season because every loss they've had, it's like they have found some new way to lose, and yet they are still somehow alive in the playoff race, sitting at 7-8. The Denver Broncos are 9-6. Bengals need to win this game, win in Week 18 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, who they're playing. Yeah, they are also well within like a deep playoff hunt as well to try and win the division still. So that's not going to be a cakewalk. They also need the Broncos to obviously lose this game and then also lose against Kansas City in Week 18 as well, which is highly possible. Broncos coming off I'll kind of admit it, I'm not shocked that the Broncos lost to the Chargers. I'm shocked on how they lost.
Yeah.
Because they dominated the first half, and we saw this offense, which has been clicking the second half of the season, just kind of fall apart in the second half. And so I kind of want to throw it over to you here. Is this Bengals defense is absolutely atrocious. We'll talk about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and that offense here in a second. But is there anything that this Bengals can pick up on from what the Chargers did in Week 16, in the second half, to maybe like try and implement to just slow down like Bo Nix and this Broncos offense?
I mean, maybe they can probably get after him a little bit. Trey Hendrickson is having a career year right now with the Bengals. Actually, I don't know. He's had some pretty good years in his career, but he's having a really good year for the Bengals right now. But honestly, other than that, that's about it for this defense. They've really been struggling so far this season. I laugh, like, as you were kind of going through this, it reminds me of like the reverse Chiefs, where it's like this offense has put up some amazing games that they've just found ways to lose because this defense can't stop anybody, and like they can't seem to get like any production from that defensive side of the ball. And so like, right. Yeah. And so like for me, I think this is just going to be another one of those like shootout games where I think the Bengals are going to have to put up 30 plus because I don't think they're going to be able to stop this running game of Denver. I think this is exactly the type of game that Sean Payton and Bo Nix want to play, of like, all right, well, we're going to run the football and we're going to get 3 to 4 yards a pop. We're going to run the play action with Bo Nix. He's going to just make the right decision. We're not going to put too much pressure on the young rookie quarterback. Even if he can handle it, it's just not the situation that you want to be in as a rookie quarterback. And so they're going to try to take as much as they can off of him. They're going to spread this defense out horizontally. And then that's when they're going to take their shots to Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton down the field. And just a methodical approach to offense where I'm really excited for this matchup, but the Patrick Surtain, Jamar Chase matchup, I think is going to be fantastic. You have probably the best receiver in the league right now, and probably the best corner in the league in Patrick Surtain right now, going to go head to head against each other. And like, I think that's going to be a really solid matchup. Patrick Surtain, I think, has the advantage of having a good pass rush and potentially forcing Joe Burrow to have to make throws before he might be quite ready or might quite be ready. And so I think that's going to be a big factor in this one is if they can – Joe Burrow, not that he's like interception prone or anything, but like as any quarterback does, he has some turnovers this season. If Joe Burrow gets caught with a couple turnovers this year, especially costly ones like in those Ravens games, I think that's going to be a very important turning point in these matchups that could allow the Broncos to really take advantage of this defense with extra time of possession, maybe some shorter fields. And I think the Broncos could definitely do that.
Yeah. No, that's what I think too as well with kind of the points you're saying. To me, it's not really even just the rushing game. In general, I think they have a fine rushing game. They're 19th overall.
The Bengals or the Broncos?
The Broncos, sorry. The Broncos efficiency when it comes to their offense. Like they're 19th overall in rushing yards, per game. They're 23rd in passing yards. And now that, and my point to that, though, when it comes to their ranking, they've had some duds early on in the year, so those stats are kind of skewed. And they had a dud in Week 15 against Indianapolis, where they're able to pull out that win against them. But I think it's just the overall efficiency in the Sean Payton offense. Like, they have had some games when they've rushed for like 120 plus yards, and that's how they won games. Bo Nix has also had games where, especially over the past 5 to 6 weeks, where he's had like 300 plus yard game or borderline 300 plus yard games. And so that's where I think it's the real challenge for the Bengals is this defense is just so poor outside of Trey Hendrickson I think the Broncos just need to be efficient, and like they will just need to have methodic, good drives. They might have some explosive plays. That's not really their big MO unless they're playing the Cleveland Browns on Monday Night Football. But I think they will, if they go back to their normal form, that first half form of what we saw on Thursday Night Football against the Chargers, I think just very consistently and probably on a lot of drives, they will methodically work their way down the field. Now, the big thing is that can they get the ball into the end zone? I think that they will be able to a lot against this Bengals defense. I think the Broncos need to not shoot themselves in the foot. They need to not get behind the chains. They need to stay on schedule. And then I think this Bengals defense will give them opportunity to keep moving the chains and put up some points. And on the flip side, too, as well, this Broncos defense has been playing well. But there's just something, I mean, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are just having just such a phenomenal year. This offense in general is just absolutely amazing. They don't really run the ball that well traditionally. The Bengals are 29th in rushing yards per game, only 92 on average per game. But they do a lot of that running through the air, a lot of these screen passes, a lot of these checkoff ones, like because they know their offensive line is weak. So how do they get the ball to their playmakers? And they've had guys step up. Andre Yoshivas, I think, Andre Yoshivas might be the main reason why they let go of T. Higgins, because it's like you have this guy on a cheap rookie contract instead of having to re-sign Higgins. I think that they can replace him there as well. Mike Gesicki has had a good year as well, more production out of that tight end spot than what they're normally seeing. Chase Brown is their number one running back. He's had a big uptick in overall play. He's going to be their main back. He's probably going to get 75 rushing yards, I'd say, in this game. But then he's also going to get a lot of scrimmage yards as well because he can catch the ball really well out of the backfield. So that's what, if you're this Broncos team, you got to cover a lot of these guys. But you've already mentioned Pat Surtain. Jonah Ellis is playing well. Nick Bonino is playing phenomenally. You're going to have Malcolm Roach, Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers as well. John Franklin Myers, if you're looking at PFF, he's ranked 10th overall when it comes to defensive interior, really pushing in and like going to try and stop the run and provide interior pressure to Joe Burrow as well. PJ Locke's playing well. You're going to have Brandon Jones. He's the 4th best ranked safety off PFF. I know it's PFF, so some people like those numbers. Some people don't like those numbers. But still, though, it's kind of a good little litmus test, just kind of where these guys are ranking overall.
It sets a baseline for performance. Yeah.
They just have a good quality defense all the way around, and so I think it's going to be very interesting, such a very interesting matchup, because it was kind of shocking to me a little bit how the defense broke down against Justin Herbert and this Los Angeles Chargers team in the second half. And I think it was just uncharacteristic. I think it was a shortened week. They're going to have extra time to prepare going up against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, who you look at that score today for the Bengals. It was just 24-6. You'd expect them to blow it out. But this is a pretty typical Bengals-Browns matchup. Browns have a stout defense as well. And they kind of match up well to what the Bengals have to offer offensively and what they want to do offensively. So I think a win is a win in these AFC North matchups because they just know each other so well. I think the Bengals going up here against the Broncos, you said it best, but Jamar Chase is going to have a career game. I think he will. Pat Surtain's going to get his licks, but also Jamar Chase, he's going to get his licks as well. I bet Jamar Chase has 125 plus receiving yards. The big thing, though, and that's not a knock on Pat Surtain. I think it just goes to show how good Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are playing. But the big thing, though, then is going to be for this Broncos defense, how are they going to lock down T. Higgins? How are they going to lock down Andre Yoshivas? How are they going to lock down Mike Gesicki? How are they going to lock down Chase Brown out of the backfield? Cody Barton, linebacker, and Justin Chernod as well. They're going to be the ones that are probably going to be lined up across from Chase Brown. They go, man, Brown has a lot of speed, so you're going to have to keep eyes on him as well. This is just going to be an absolutely phenomenal matchup, especially too now. Like this is the first round of the playoffs for both these teams. If the Broncos win this game, they're more than likely in. Yeah, actually,
no. They're if they win, they're in. If Cincinnati wins, they stay alive.
Yep, that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Broncos would have 10 wins, and the Colts and Miami also could not catch up as well. So Broncos is the first round of the playoffs here, and you could technically maybe even get a little bit of a bye next week against the Chiefs, who might also be having a bye if the Chiefs win on Christmas Day. So I think it's going to be a phenomenal matchup. What I'm going to be curious about as well is the Broncos offense. And we've already talked about it a little bit, but the rise of Devon Villay as well, the utilization of Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton as well. I'm curious if they can get these pieces together in a row on the Broncos side. How far could this team go? Because even, for example, when they lost the Chiefs, when they should have beat the Chiefs on the block field goal, this offense has improved so much since then with the motion that they have, the efficiency that they have. I think in general, like in the offseason, they need to get another star player like on the outside just to make it even that much more hectic in the Sean Payton offense. But if they don't shoot themselves in the foot, which I know is a big asterisk, I think, because a lot of teams could be set that way. I think they can go up against a lot of defenses. They can put up a lot of points, in the overall efficiency and the maturity we've seen from Bo Nix. I think this team could go really far if they're able to make the playoffs. And so kind of with that, though, how do you want to do this for our predictions? Because I'm
not go first. That's fine.
Overall. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Perfect. So I'll maybe toss you a potential layup here. It just feels, just with Joe Burrow having the season that he's having, Jamar Chase the season that he's having, it's going to be at home. They've kind of almost took the monkey off their back, I feel, with their win over Dallas. Like how could you just keep losing? Like they're finding new ways to go and keep losing, and Dallas kind of gave them a little bit of help there, and they were able to pull out that victory. It just feels like this is going to go the Bengals' way. I feel like the Bengals are going to stay alive, going to be at home. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely wild at Paycor Stadium. That sounds weird. I still like Paul Brown Stadium. But I had the Bengals winning this one and just an absolutely wild Saturday mid-afternoon game. So I had the Bengals win this one.
I'm going to go with the Broncos. I was going to pick the Broncos anyways. I just feel like they're the better complete team. They can come in here and I still think put up 30 plus and keep pace with the Bengals offense.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Okay, no, false alarm on the third one. But I think they can keep pace with the Bengals offense, but I also feel like they have the much better defense, and I fear that this Denver defensive line is just going to be able to take over this game because right now Cincinnati has bottom 3 or 4 offensive line play in the league, and Joe Burrow is having this season with that offensive line, and that just says so much about Joe Burrow. But when you play a really good defense where Jamar Chase isn't going to be open every single play because Pat Surtain is going to be on him. T. Higgins, Riley Moss, if he's active, has been really good this year so far. This is a really solid defense. I don't expect them to be able to rely on the running game nearly as much. And so I'm going to go with Denver. I just think that they'll be able to control this game most of the time. Cincinnati will probably still score high 20s. Just because this offense is that good, but I feel like Denver should be able to control the line of scrimmage, control on both sides of the ball, and just kind of control the pace of this game, and maybe limit some of the blows that Cincinnati can throw. So,
absolutely, it's kind of weird to think about. This is almost a surefire 30+ point game. What's the over? I just want to look at this. I don't know if they even have the overs yet, but is there an over already established?
Right now on ESPN, the over/under is 48.5.
Oh my gosh! I'm taking the over on that. Holy cow!
Yeah,
only 48 points. with how bad this
49.
Bengals
I mean,
defense-
that's a 28-21 game. Like, that's a decent scoring game.
we think the Bengals are only going to give up 21 points or 28 points even. I know they just gave up.
I think they're going to give up.
I
I think it's going to be like a 38-31 type of game. Like
I think I would take. I do not give out financial advice.
We're not liable for any bets you make.
yeah. I'm going to take the over on that game.
yeah. No, and I agree with that. I would agree. I think this is going to be a high scoring endeavor. But I just think this Bengals offense is so good, yet this Bengals defense is so bad. Add another one to the list, I think, where the Bengals score 30 points and lose, in my opinion.
I think so.
So let's go ahead. Let's wrap.
I disagree with that. I don't think so.
What do you think, though? They'll score 30 points and win.
Yes.
But let's go ahead. Let's wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Denver Broncos? Will it be the Cincinnati Bengals? And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.